Kansas school superintendents say the state is poised for the perfect storm to create a teacher shortage. Tax cuts that put education funding in jeopardy and retirement changes have teachers exploring their options.
What other things do we capitalize besides cities and states?
Becky Cleland teaches language arts to 6th graders in Lamar, Missouri. She left Kansas after teaching 22 years in Girard.
I loved my job in Girard. I loved teaching there. It was the governor, it was the state's legislature of what they are doing to school districts. Snakes.
Cleland said she was frustrated by growing class sizes and shrinking budgets.
Well, you're wondering, am I next? And when you see those new hires who do an awesome job, and those superintendents have to tell them they're gone.
Kansas Senator Jake LaTurner argues Kansas gives 50 cents of every tax dollar to education and can still compete in supports for teachers.
Look at average salaries, for example. If you look on the Missouri side at Nevada, Carl Junction, and Joplin and compare it to Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, and Galena, all three Kansas schools have a higher average salary than the best of those three Missouri schools that I mentioned.
Cleland says she was also frustrated with Common Core in Kansas, a problem she isn't seeing in Missouri.
I don't feel as browbeat about Common Core as I did when we were in Kansas. In Kansas, like I said, they are demanding us to do more and more. Meet these Common Core goals, do this, do that. And if you are not successful, possibly your salary is tied to that.
We're changing testing systems in Kansas, and it's been a constant chore over the last several years to decide, what testing system are we going to use? Is it going to work? Is it going to break down?
Girard superintendent doesn't feel there's an exodus of teachers going to Missouri, but he says conditions in the state of Kansas are making it harder to hire.
There's not the applicant pool out there to fill those jobs, so now with the retirement system, that's kind of going away.
Kansas used to allow a teacher to retire, then work in another district. Lawmakers considered that double dipping and changed retirement rules.
So these teachers are still going to work, but they're going to go to Missouri and work, or they're going to go to Oklahoma and work. Because they really can't afford to stay in Kansas and work.
If that can't be fixed, I think that will actually increase the outstate migration.
While Galena struggled to fill a science position, a fall vacancy report shows that there were 317 teaching vacancies in the state as of September 1st, 2015. And those hard-to-fill positions included not only math and science, but the average elementary classroom teacher.
And that's just a shock to me. If you had asked me even 5 years ago if we would ever have a shortage of elementary teachers in Kansas, I would have told you no. And yet that's where we find ourselves.
Martin even had trouble filling a PE position in Parsons.
We were very lucky. I know my colleague in Kansas City still today has 45 vacancies she can't fill.
There, Missouri schools use billboards to lure unhappy teachers across the border.
In teaching, if there's no support, if your government isn't behind you, if your governor, if your legislature isn't behind you with either pay or support, what kind of future do you have?
More than 650 teachers last year decided to take chances on a future outside of Kansas. Not all those leaving may be headed to Missouri, but they're not happy in the Sunflower State. And superintendents worry about the vacancies getting worse. The number of teachers graduating from universities is on the decline in Kansas. PSU officials used to average 190 to 225 education grads. In the last 5 years, the average has dropped to around 160. Lisa Oligas, KOAM News.